Captain Elias Ward did not like being cheated. He especially did not like being cheated after spending 3 weeks in orbit around a dusty trade station that smelled like burned metal and old fuel. His ship, Wayfarer, floated just outside Dock Ring 7. The hull still carried scorch marks from a reactor flare he had helped repair for a bulky, 4-armed merchant named Vekthar. Elias had crawled through hot maintenance shafts, rerouted power lines by hand, and saved the alien's cargo ship from becoming space debris. Now Vekthar stood in front of him in the station's payment hall, clicking his mandibles in a way that meant discomfort.
"The agreed sum is delayed," Vekthar said through the translator drone hovering at his shoulder.
Elias crossed his arms. He was tall for a human, with grease still under his fingernails and a week's worth of stubble on his jaw.
Delayed how? Funds are temporarily inaccessible. Trade routes unstable.
Political disruption. The translator smoothed the words, but the meaning was clear.
"You don't have the money," Elias said flatly.
"Correct. However, I offer compensation of equal market value." Elias sighed.
"Cargo? Fuel credit? Spare parts?"
Vekthar gestured with one upper limb toward a figure standing a few meters behind him. Elias had noticed her when he walked in, but had tried not to stare. She was taller than most humans, slender, with pale silver skin that seemed to catch the station lights and bend them softly. Her hair, if that was the right word, fell in dark strands down her back, almost blue in certain angles. Around her neck was a thin metallic band with tiny lights pulsing along its surface.
She did not look up. "This contract-bound servant," Vekthar said.
Transferable, obedient, educated, high labor efficiency.
Elias blinked. "You're offering a person, legally classified as indentured property under Tri-System Trade Code?" Vekthar replied.
"Ownership may be transferred in lieu of currency." Elias felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. Around them, other traders moved through the hall, some glancing over with mild interest, none looking shocked. "You're serious?" Elias said quietly. "Yes."
She is valuable. Her previous holder defaulted. I acquired her contract at auction. The woman did not react to the word auction.
She just stood there, hands loosely clasped in front of her, eyes lowered.
Elias rubbed his face.
"I fix your reactor, and you try to pay me with a slave." "Servant," Vekthar corrected. "Not in my language." Vekthar's mandibles twitched. "Refusal is within your rights. Payment delay may extend several cycles." Elias looked at the docking schedule floating in his wrist display. He was already late delivering agricultural processors to a colony 2 systems over. Waiting several cycles could cost him his next contract too. He looked back at the woman. Up close, he could see faint markings along her temples, like natural patterns in her skin. Her eyes were large and dark, not empty, just still. Too still. "What's that on her neck?" he asked. "Behavior regulator. Standard for servant class. Prevents aggression. Limits unauthorized communication."
You mean a shock collar? It is humane, Vekthar said quickly. No lasting damage.
"Ensures compliance." Elias let out a slow breath through his nose. "If I take her, the contract transfers to me?" "Yes. All ownership rights." He hated the word ownership even more the second time.
"And if I don't?"
"She returns to market." Elias looked at her again. She had not moved once, not even to shift her weight. He made a decision he knew would complicate his life. "Fine," he said. "I'll take the transfer." Vekthar brightened immediately. Data slates were exchanged. Legal codes flashed. The collar on the woman's neck chimed softly as it registered a new owner. "Pleasure doing business," Vekthar said, already turning away. Elias didn't feel any pleasure at all. He walked over to the woman. Up close, she was even taller than he thought. She smelled faintly like clean air after rain. Hey, he said, awkwardly. You understand the translator? Her eyes lifted slightly. She gave the smallest nod.
Okay!
I'm Elias, captain of the Wayfarer.
He paused. You got a name? A soft tone came from the collar.
A red light blinked. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Elias's jaw tightened.
Right, that thing. He gestured toward the exit. Come on, let's get off this station.
She followed without a word, steps quiet and smooth. The walk through the docking corridors felt longer than usual. Station workers passed them without interest. A few aliens glanced at the collar and then at Elias with what might have been approval. He did not like that look. Inside the airlock of the Wayfarer, the ship's AI chimed. Welcome back, Captain. Unregistered life form detected.
Please confirm status. She's with us,
Elias said. Temporary crew, guest privileges.
There was a pause. Biometric readings indicate neural restraint device. I know. He led her through the narrow halls of the ship.
The Wayfarer was old but clean, filled with the hum of well-maintained systems. Pipes ran along the ceiling, screens flickered with engine data. He stopped outside an empty crew cabin.
You can stay here.
He stepped inside and looked around. Small bunk, storage locker, fold-down desk. It's not fancy, he said, but it's yours. Not a storage crate, not a cargo hold. Her gaze snapped to him at that, sharp for just a second. Elias pointed to the collar.
I'm going to take that off. Her eyes widened. She took a step back.
It's okay, he said quickly. I'm not going to hurt you.
We don't do that on human ships.
She touched the collar lightly, almost like she had forgotten it was there. Stand still, he said gently. He grabbed a toolkit from the wall and scanned the device. The readout showed power levels, neural feedback loops, remote control channels. Cheap model, he muttered, station grade. He worked carefully, hands steady from years of delicate repairs. A few sparks flickered. The collar beeped in protest. The woman sucked in a sharp breath as the lights along the band flickered wildly.
Almost got it, Elias said.
With a soft click, the band split and fell into his hand, dead and harmless. The woman staggered slightly, grabbing the edge of the desk. Easy, Elias said. You're okay. She lifted a trembling hand to her neck, touching the skin where the collar had been. Her breathing was fast, like someone who had just surfaced from deep water.
You
Removed it, she said. Her voice was clear, smooth, and nothing like he expected. Not broken, not simple.
Yeah, Elias said. Figured you might want to talk. She looked at him like he had done something impossible.
Why? She asked. He shrugged. Because you're a person. She stared at him for a long moment, as if trying to understand the words. You are now free to leave the ship at the next station, he added. Or stay. Your choice.
I don't own you. I just
accepted bad payment and made the best of it. Her brow furrowed slightly. Choice. Yeah. Choice. She repeated the word softly, like testing how it felt. Over the next few days, the Wayfarers slipped back into open space, engines humming as they left the trade station behind. The woman, she finally told him her name was Elira, moved quietly through the ship. At first, she stayed in her cabin, emerging only to watch through the observation port at the stars. Elias didn't push. He showed her where the food printer was, how to use the water recycler, how to adjust the cabin temperature. She learned fast, too fast. On the second day, he found her in the engine room, studying a diagnostic screen.
You can read that? He asked.
Yes, she said. Your plasma flow is slightly uneven in the port manifold. Elias blinked. He checked the numbers. She was right.
You've worked on drives before? She hesitated. I have.
Studied many systems. Well, he said, trying to sound casual, feel free to point stuff out. Just don't crawl into any live conduits without telling me. I will not endanger your vessel, she said seriously. He chuckled.
It's our vessel for now.
She looked at him again with that searching expression. EliaraHFY started helping more after that. She rerouted a sensor array to improve long-range scans. She adjusted life support cycling to use less power. Every change she made was careful, precise. One evening, Elias found her staring at the main star map in the cockpit. "You recognize something?" he asked. She quickly tapped a control and the display shifted away from a cluster of systems. "No," she said too quickly. He pretended not to notice. Everyone had secrets. He wasn't ready to dig into hers yet. 3 days later, proximity alarms chimed. "Unidentified vessel exiting faster than light travel," the AI announced. "Vector, intercept." Elias slid into the pilot's chair. EliaraHFY stood behind him, very still. A sleek, dark ship appeared on the screen, all sharp angles and glowing blue lines along its hull. It was bigger than the Wayfarer, military even to Elias's untrained eye. "Great," he muttered. "Probably a routine scan." EliaraHFY's hands tightened at her sides. A beam of light swept over the Wayfarer. Systems flickered as the scan passed through. On the other ship, alarms began flashing. Their weapons powered up. Then, just as suddenly, powered down. Elias frowned. "That's weird." A new signal pinged. The alien ship sent a burst transmission. Encrypted. Rapid.
B. Can we decode that? He asked. Language unknown, the AI replied.
However, tone analysis suggests alarm. On the screen, the larger ship shifted position. Not to attack. To back away. They're retreating. Elias said, confused. EliaraHFY stared at the display, her face pale, paler than usual. The alien ship turned, engines flaring, and jumped back into faster-than-light travel without another move. Silence filled the cockpit. Elias leaned back slowly.
That does not happen to me.
Usually military ships either find me or ignore me. They don't run. He turned to EliaraHFY. She was still staring at the empty space where the ship had been.
Hey, Lyra, he said gently. Want to tell me why a warship just scanned us and decided we were too scary to bother with?
She swallowed. My presence, she said quietly. They detected my genetic signature. Elias raised an eyebrow. And that makes them leave? Yes, she said. He waited. Wow. She looked at him, fear and something else in her eyes, something like guilt. I think, she said slowly, you have not been paid with a servant, Captain Elias Ward. He gave a small, nervous smile. Yeah, I figured that part out. She drew in a shaky breath. I think, she whispered, you have taken someone very important. The cockpit stayed quiet after EliaraHFY's words. The stars outside stretched in calm lines as the Wayfarer continued on its path. But inside the small ship, everything felt different.
Elias did not speak right away. He just studied her face.
She looked afraid, but not for herself. Afraid for him. Important how? He finally asked. EliaraHFY lowered herself slowly into the co-pilot's seat, like her legs had suddenly grown weak. In my empire, she said, choosing each word with care, bloodlines decide who rules, not votes, not wealth, birth. Royal family? Elias guessed. She closed her eyes for a moment, then nodded.
I was born to the High Line.
The line that produces empresses. Elias let out a low whistle.
Top of the food chain. Important? Yes. He ran a hand through his hair.
And somebody sold you at a station auction like spare cargo. Yes, that's a big political problem. Yes, she said again, voice smaller. Elias leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling for a second.
Okay, let's sort this out.
Ooh. You were taken against your will? She nodded.
By criminals? Political enemies? Both.
There was a coup attempt. I was removed quietly. Official records likely say I died in an accident. And instead, you ended up with a collar and a price tag. Yes, Elias blew out a breath. I really should start charging extra for jobs that come with interstellar drama. Despite everything, Elira made a faint, surprised sound. It took him a second to realize it was a small laugh. It vanished quickly. They will come, she said. The ship that scanned us was only a patrol. They will report upward.
Others will follow. Are they going to try to blow us up?
She hesitated.
Not immediately. My people value stability.
Destroying a human civilian vessel without negotiation would create diplomatic problems. Good to know we're inconvenient to murder, Elias muttered. She looked at him sharply. You do not understand. Harboring me could damage your species' relationship with my empire. Tradey. Woo. Travel. Technology exchange.
Okay, he said. But here's the thing. I didn't sign up to be part of your empire's politics. I just refused to keep a shock collar on someone.
That choice has consequences, she said softly.
Yeah, he agreed.
Most good ones do. She studied him, confusion deep in her eyes. Why are you not angry? Oh, I am, he said.
Just not at you. He tapped the console. Someone kidnapped you, sold you, and stuck you in a control collar.
That's the part I'm mad about. In my society, anger is directed at those who disrupt order, she said. Not those above you. Yeah, well, Elias said. Humans have a long history of being mad at people above us. She fell quiet after that. Over the next several hours, Elias changed course slightly, angling the Wayfarer toward a less crowded trade corridor.
You're avoiding main routes, Elira observed from the sensor station. Yep. If someone's looking for us, I'd rather not fly through traffic control checkpoints broadcasting our location.
You, hiding me. I'm giving us time to think, he corrected. Big difference. She nodded slowly. Tell me something, he said.
If your people find you, what happens?
She was silent for a long moment.
If the wrong faction finds me, she said at last, I disappear again, permanently.
And the right faction. I am returned, displayed, used as proof that the ruling line is unbroken. That sounds better. It is not, she said quietly. He glanced at her. Why not? Because I would not be a person, she said. I would be a symbol, a tool. My life would be decided in rooms I never enter.
Elias thought about that.
So either way, you don't get a say. She looked at him, and something in her expression shifted. Until now, I did not think a say was something people like me were meant to have. Welcome to humanity, he said. We argue about everything. Constant. Later in the engine room, Elias found her staring at the broken collar he had tossed into a scrap bin.
You can keep it if you want, he said.
Or I can melt it down. She picked it up carefully, turning it in her hands. This device told my body when to be silent, she said. When to sleep, when to feel pain. His jaw tightened.
It's getting melted.
She nodded and handed it back without protest. Elira, he said gently.
You don't owe me anything. You can leave at the next safe port.
I'll even give you some credits to get started. She looked almost startled.
You would give resources to someone who brings danger to your door? Yeah, he said, because it's the right thing. She studied him like he was the strange one.
In my culture, she said slowly, kindness is usually an investment, given to gain influence later.
Oh.
Sometimes it is for us too, he admitted. But not this time. Then why? He shrugged.
Because if I were in chains, I'd want someone to cut them. She looked away quickly, blinking more than usual. 2 days passed without incident. Eliara grew more comfortable moving around the ship. She asked questions about everything. Why humans named their ships, why they decorated walls with photos, why Elias kept a small plant in the galley.
It cleans the air a bit, he said. Also reminds me of home. You left your home world, she said.
Yeah? Was it not required of you? Nope. I just wanted to see what's out here.
She seemed deeply puzzled by that. On the 3rd day, a tight beam message forced its way through their comms.
Priority hail from Imperial Vessel Sovereign Clarity, the AI announced.
Eliara froze. That sounds official, Elias said, putting it on screen. The display filled with the image of a tall alien with elongated features and shimmering robes. Their eyes were sharp, calculating.
Human vessel wayfarer, the alien said through a crisp translator.
You are in possession of an individual of extreme importance to the stellar throne.
Elias leaned back casually. You mean Eliara?
Yeah.
Eliara looked at him in horror at his casual tone.
You will return her immediately, the alien said. Transmit coordinates for secure transfer.
Elias scratched his chin. See, that's complicated. There is no complication, the alien said, voice tightening. She was taken unlawfully. Yeah, I figured that part out, Elias said, but she was sold to me under station trade law. Then I freed her. A pause. The alien's eyes flicked sideways, likely reading data feeds. Your legal interpretations are irrelevant, they said.
She is heir to the throne, Elias gestured toward Eliara. You want to tell them what you want? All eyes turned to her.
Her hands trembled, but she stepped closer to the camera. I am not property, she said clearly.
Not of criminals, not of the throne.
The alien on the screen stiffened. Eliara, daughter of the High Line, you are speaking under duress.
I am not, she said. The human removed my restraint device.
He offered me freedom.
That is not his authority to grant, the alien snapped.
Elias leaned forward. Actually, on my ship it is. The alien's gaze hardened. Human, you are interfering in matters beyond your comprehension.
Probably, Elias said, still not handing her over without her say.
A long silence followed. Finally, the alien spoke again, voice colder. A fleet will be dispatched to escort you. Do not attempt to flee. The transmission cut. Elias exhaled. Well, that could have gone worse. Eliara stared at the blank screen. You justified an empire.
Yeah, he said. Feels weirdly similar to arguing with a shipping company. She turned to him, eyes wide. They do not bluff.
A fleet means warships.
Then we'd better not be here when they arrive, he said, already turning to the controls. You would run. I would relocate at high speed, he corrected.
For the first time since he met her, Eliara smiled without fear in it. Humans, she said softly, are very strange.
Yeah,
Elias said, pushing the engines harder.
You're getting used to it.
The wayfarer slipped into faster-than-light travel with a low, steady hum that vibrated through the deck plates. Stars stretched into long white lines outside the viewports, then vanished into the soft blue glow of transit space. Elias kept his hands on the controls for a few seconds longer than needed. His heart was beating fast, but his face stayed calm. Eliara stood just behind his chair, fingers lightly gripping the backrest. "Will they follow?" she asked. "Eventually," he said. "But we jumped before they could get a lock on our exit vector."
That buys us time.
"How much time?" He gave a small shrug. "Hours. Maybe a day if we're lucky." "In my empire," she said quietly, "fleets do not hurry. They calculate. They corner." "Good thing I'm not staying still," Elias replied. He set the autopilot and turned to face her. "Okay? We need a plan that doesn't end with us being politely surrounded by very large ships. You should give me to them," she said.
He frowned.
We already had this conversation. It is logical, she insisted. One life for stability between species. You're not a crate of spare parts, he said.
"Stop talking like you are." She looked frustrated, but also uncertain. "Sacrifice for the greater order is considered honorable." "Yeah, well, humans are big on the idea that the greater order shouldn't demand collars," he said. She fell silent at that. Elias stood and walked to the small galley. "You eat yet?" She blinked. "We are being pursued by an imperial fleet." "Yep, still need lunch." A moment later, she joined him, watching as he pulled 2 nutrient packs from storage and slid them into the heater. "You respond to danger with routine," she observed. "Routine keeps you from panicking," he said. "Panic makes bad decisions." She considered that while he handed her a warm container. "Thank you," she said. He nodded and leaned against the counter.
Tell me something useful. If they can't just blast us, what can they do? They can pressure your government, she said.
"Threaten trade restrictions. Border closures. Border closures. Earth hates paperwork more than war," he muttered. "That might actually work." "Or," she continued, "they can try to convince you that returning me is the moral action." Elias gave her a look. "Is it?" She opened her mouth, then hesitated.
"It would prevent political instability."
"That's not what I asked." She looked down at her food. "I do not know what is moral anymore." He softened.
That's okay. Took humans a few thousand years to argue about it.
"Still not done."
She gave a small breath that might have been a laugh.
Several hours later, the ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a quiet, uninhabited star. No stations, no patrols, just a dim orange sun and a handful of cold rocks.
Why here? Elira asked.
"Because nobody important lives here," Elias said. "Harder to find what doesn't show up on traffic maps." He powered down non-essential systems, lowering their energy signature.
"We hide?" she asked.
"We think," he corrected, while being hard to notice. She stood beside him at the main console, watching sensor data scroll past. "You could leave me on one of the moons," she said suddenly. "With a beacon. They would find me." Elias looked at her sharply. "You volunteering to sit alone on a rock with no atmosphere? If it protects your people..." "Because the problem isn't you. It's the idea that someone can own you. Handing you back just tells them that idea works." She stared at him. "You really believe one small act can change an empire?" she asked.
Not one act, he said.
Lots of small ones. Over and over. Annoying people who think they're in charge. She tilted her head.
You speak as if from experience. Oh yeah, he said. Humans are professionals at annoying empires.
A soft alert chimed.
Long-range detection, the AI said. Multiple vessels exiting faster than light travel at system edge. Eliara went still.
They found us. Yup, Elias said. Faster than I hoped.
On the screen, faint signals appeared. 3 large ships, triangular in formation. They are not in attack posture, she said. Good. A tight beam transmission came through almost immediately.
Human vessel Wayfarer, this is Imperial Command Ship Radiant Judgment.
Power down and prepare for escort. Elias opened the channel. That name feels a bit dramatic, don't you think? The alien commander from before appeared, expression as sharp as ever. This situation has escalated, they said.
You are harboring the rightful Empress Designate.
Still a person, Elias replied.
You are obstructing lawful recovery. She says she doesn't want to go back like that, he said.
Seems relevant. Eliara stepped into view. Commander Selvek, she said.
The alien stiffened. You are safe, Eliara.
Stand by for retrieval. I am safe, she said, but not because of you. A flicker of irritation crossed Selvek's face.
You are confused. You have been influenced by alien values.
Eliara lifted her chin. Yes.
Selvek shifted their gaze to Elias. Human, name your demand. Wealth? Trade priority? Political favor? Elias blinked. That's your angle? All beings have a price, Selvek said.
Not where I'm from, Elias replied. That is statistically unlikely. Yeah, we're messy like that.
Selvek's eyes narrowed. Then explain your refusal. Elias leaned back. Okay, simple version. Where I come from, owning people is illegal. Immoral. Ugly part of our history we try not to repeat. She stepped on my ship in chains. I took them off. I'm not putting them back on just because it makes your paperwork easier. Eliara looked at him, something bright in her expression. Selvek was quiet for a long moment. Your species is young, they said at last.
Idealism is common in young civilizations. Maybe, Elias said, or maybe we just learned some lessons the hard way. Selvek turned to Eliara.
If you return willingly, you can shape reform from within. If you stay, you become a symbol for radicals. Eliara hesitated.
Elias did not speak. What kind of reform? She asked.
Gradual, Selvek said. Controlled.
Without chaos? Without freeing those in chains? She pressed.
Selvek did not answer directly. Stability must come first. Eliara's shoulders straightened. I lived in stability. Others lived in collars. Selvek's voice hardened.
You risk civil fracture? She took a breath.
Then perhaps it is time we fracture.
Elias glanced at her, surprised. Selvek's gaze snapped back to him. You have filled her head with dangerous ideas. Elias shrugged. I mostly just gave her coffee and access to the engine room. This is not over, Selvek said. We will not fire on you, but we will not leave either. The transmission ended. On the main screen, the 3 Imperial ships shifted into a distant holding pattern. Waiting, Elias said. They will try other methods, Eliara said. Messages. Diplomacy. Pressure. Could, he said. Gives us time to talk too. To whom? He smiled slightly. Everyone. Over the next hour, Elias recorded a message and pushed it out on every open civilian frequency. He kept it simple. He explained he was a human trader, that he had been paid with a bound warper, that he removed her collar, that she turned out to be royal, But that didn't change the first part.
Where I'm from, he said into the camera, no one should be property. Not by law.
Not by tradition. She's choosing to stay free.
That's it. Elira watched from the side, nervous.
Will this help? She asked after. Maybe, he said. Information spreads fast, especially when empires want it quiet. Within minutes, responses began to trickle in. Civilian ships asking questions. Traders sharing the message. A few alien captains quietly sending support. Then something bigger happened. An Imperial civilian broadcast signal opened, unauthorized and shaky. A young voice, clearly the same species as Selvek, filled the bridge speakers.
We have seen the human message, the voice said. Is it true the Empress Designate speaks freely?
Elira stepped forward without hesitation. Yes, she said. I speak without a collar. More signals joined. Questions. Confusion. Hope. Selvek's warships stayed silent, but their formation tightened.
They are losing control of the narrative, Elira whispered. Welcome to the internet, Elias said.
We invented that kind of chaos. She actually laughed this time, bright and real, even with Imperial warships watching from a distance. For the first time since he met her, she did not look like someone waiting to be captured. She looked like someone choosing her own future.